All right. So from today, we are going to start manual testing project. So far in our previous sessions, we have learned all the concepts from manual testing, like different type of testings, and also we have seen different processes. And also we have seen what are the different documents to be prepared during software testing. So from today, we are going to implement all the topics in manual testing. Okay. So in manual testing project. So whenever you start a new project, right? So we have to follow certain steps. Okay, so we have seen like different models in our software testing classes, and the companies follow certain models. But whichever model it is, if you come to the STLC, software testing lifecycle, the process is almost same. Like we need to start from understanding the requirements, and then we need to start writing your test scenarios and then test cases, and then we'll execute our test cases, and after that we'll report the bugs. So this process is commonly there everywhere. So this is comes under STLC process. Okay, so before starting a new project, you need to understand STLC, software testing lifecycle, in detail. We already covered in our previous sessions. So based on that, we are going to start a process, software testing process in manual testing project. Okay. So we have to follow certain stages in manual testing project. So let me just list out what are the stages, and we will do one by one. So in software testing project, the first is we will see project introduction. So what exactly project means, and then we will understand and explore the functionality of the application. And after that, we prepare the test plan document, and then we will write the test scenarios. Then we will write test cases and we review on the test cases. We'll conduct review on the test cases. After that, we'll set up environment, and then we'll deploy the build, come from the developer, and then we'll start executing our test cases. And while executing the test cases, so whatever bugs we reported, so we'll find the bugs and we report them to the developer and track those defects. And whenever we get the new build, right, we will do sanity and regression testing, and then sign off. So finally, once executed all the test cases and if there is no bugs, then we will sign off your testing. So these are the different stages which we have to do, or different tasks which we have to do as part of manual testing. Okay. So now we will do step by step. So it will take around 2 to 3 sessions, the whole topics. And one more thing is, because this is a project, your involvement is more than me. Okay. So I'll involve just 20 to 30%, and the rest of the percentage you have to involve and do a lot of activities. So next to 2 to 3 days, I'm going to give you some assignment on this. So you guys also practice from your side. Okay. So let's see first step by step. So first let us start with the project introduction. So what is a project which we are going to do? In the beginning sessions, I told you one small thing called project and product, right? So what is the difference between project and product? So what is the difference between project and product? So project is something like which we can develop for a specific customer, right? So if there is a customer, we take the requirement from the customer and we'll develop the software and test the software. And finally, we deliver the software to that particular customer based on their requirement. That is called as a project. And the same software cannot be used by some other customer or some other client, right? So when you come to the product, what is product means? The product developed and tested based upon the market requirements. So whoever is want to use that product, they can use it, because the product contains the common requirements from the customers, not only specific customer. It is developed for multiple customers. That is called as a product. So as part of our testing project, we are going to test the product. Okay, this product whatever I'm going to introduce you, that is a product actually, so which we can use any customer or any client. So there is no specific client for that. So whoever is bought that particular product, they can use that product, they can deploy the product in their environment and they can use it. So whatever the application which we are going to test is a product, remember. Okay. So suppose tomorrow if you join any product based company also, it will be very, very useful for you. All right. So what kind of project we are going to discuss? So we are going to discuss about a product. Okay, we are discussing about product. What kind of product it is? So it is a e-commerce product or e-commerce application. E-commerce product or e-commerce application. So what is meant by e-commerce? So in the project, whenever you work on any project, the domain knowledge plays very, very important role. Guys. There are different domains are there. Like we have a banking domain, e-commerce domain, financial domain. Okay, education is domain, and government applications. So different type of domains we have in our market, and especially the product or the product or application which we are going to test, which comes under e-commerce domain, because this is a more familiar with everyone. So nowadays everyone using online applications to order the products, right, do the payment and getting the products delivery on time. So these things are commonly there everywhere, so everybody is doing that. So e-commerce project comes under that. So all these things comes under e-commerce project. So when I say e-commerce product, so what are the main activities we do in a e-commerce application? So every e-commerce applications will do the same kind of activities. So in our e-commerce applications, what exactly you do as a customer? So as a customer, what I can do is I can log in into my application, right? So I can search for products. I can search for products or items. So whichever we want. And then what we can do, we can add them to cart, add them to cart, add them to cart. And then what we can do, we can do the payment for them. We can do payment. And after doing the payment, then product will be delivered. Okay, if you are don't like the product, you can return the product also. So returns the product, returns the product. So like this, there are so many other functionalities we have. So whichever the product are having these kind of functionalities, which we can call it as a e-commerce applications. So all of them are comes under e-commerce applications. Okay. So if I take any e-commerce application, there are two parts. So one is called front end, one is called front end, the other one is called as a back end. Okay, one is called front end, the other one is a back end. And two kinds of applications will be there for e-commerce domain. So what is front end will do? Whatever activities we have written here, so these activities normally done by the customer, right? As a user. So I open my application, I can search my products, I can add them to my wish list or cart, then I do payment, and then product will be delivered on specified address. Or if I don't like, you can return the product. So we will do these activities. These activities are normally done by the customer, right? So these activities, if you want to perform these activities, we have to use a front end application. So everyone or every user will able to access this application through internet. So this is a public application. We can simply say front end application is a public, because everybody will able to access this application through internet. Okay, this is one part. And there is another part called as a backend application. So this application can be accessed only by the admin people. Whoever is belongs to that company, there is a separate team called admin, and they do processing at the backend side. So as a customer, as a user, I don't know anything what exactly they do backend. So that those activities are doing at the backend side. So for example, so these are all front end activities. Okay, there are also some back end activities like adding the product to the application. Suppose on the UI or front end application, we are seeing all the products, but who will exactly place those orders in UI? There should be some team, and they are adding the product, they are removing the product. Suppose if there is no stock for the product, who will update that? So admin team will update that. And suppose you order some product, you have done some payment. So who will receive the payment? Who will process your request? So there should be some admin team. Suppose you have written your product, so who will collect that product and who will refund your money? So to do that, there is a some team. And whoever is logged to our application or whoever is registered in the application, so the registered users also maintain in backend. So all these things will be maintained in the backend applications. Only admins can access this application. So that is another part. Only admins can access this application within their company, within their company. So front end and back end, there are two parts of this application. Any e-commerce application, there should be two parts, front end and back end. So front end application will be used by the public through internet, and back end applications will be used only by the admins in their environment. So what kind of application it is? There is something called internet applications, intranet applications. What is internet applications means? We can access that application publicly throughout internet. That is called as internet applications. People may ask these kind of questions. Remember it. What are the internet applications means? The people can access that application throughout the internet, wherever it is. They are comes under internet applications. So here front end application is comes under internet application. Backend means what? The application can be accessed only within the organization by the admins, and that also required internet, but the application cannot be accessed throughout the internet public. So they are called intranet applications. Intranet application means the applications which can use only within the organization. They are called intranet applications. Okay. So here the front end application comes under internet application, and back end applications comes under internet applications. Okay. So the e-commerce application or product is divided into two parts. One is a front end application which we can use, or which we can use access through publicly through internet, and there is another application called backend, and this kind of applications can be used only at the only at the company side. Only admins can access this application. Okay. So as part of manual testing project, we are going to work with the front end application. So we are going to see all these actions or activities through front end applications. Okay. So this is a basic introduction about project. So what kind of project we are going to do is, it is a basically a product, and which is comes under e-commerce domain. Okay. Each e-commerce domain application. So now, so this is a product. So that is already there in internet. And if you want to explore that application, I can give you the URL of application. Okay. But before seeing the application, it is better to understand the requirement, because actually in the real time environment, you don't have the application in front of you. First you will get the documents. So you will get some FRS document, and then you have to prepare test plan, and then you have to prepare the test cases. After that you will get an application, then only you can access the URL, then only you can see the application. But till then you have to mainly focus on the reviews, on the documents whatever you prepared. Okay. So, but for the understanding purpose, I will also give you the application URL, so which is already there. And meanwhile, you guys can explore the functionality of the application, what exactly it is and how it is working. And later, I will also show you how to install that application. So because we already have that phase here, environment setup and build deployment. So once we reach it here, I will tell you how to install that product in your local machines, and how we can deploy and how we can start execution. But meanwhile, if you want to see that application, if you want to explore the functionalities, I can share that URL also, and which is there in internet, and everybody can access, and everybody can do some functionality on that application, and meanwhile you can explore that. But before that, we'll focus mainly on the documentation part, because this is most important before starting the installation and testing the application. Okay. So we'll go step by step. So here I'm going to provide the application URL. Just go to internet and search for OpenCart. Just say OpenCart. So when I say OpenCart, you will see something called opencart.com. So this is again one company. Okay, so we can just read the description. OpenCart is an online store management system, and it is PHP based using MySQL database and HTML component, and support is provided for different languages and currencies. Okay, it is a freely available under GNU General Public License. Right, if I just look at here, this is some information they have given about this company and product, and technologies what they have used to develop this application. Like PHP is a programming language, MySQL is a database, and also some HTML they have used as a front end to develop the UI. So these are few technologies they have used. We will discuss in detail later. So this is a application, guys. Opencart.com. If you just open this link, and that is not exact application, just open this link, opencart.com. So once you open this link, you can see here the product features, and they have also given some demos and other links. And if you just see here, there are two buttons are there: free download, view demo. So later I will show you how to download and how to deploy this application in our test environment, that we will see practically later. And meanwhile, we can just see the demo. So if we just click on view demo here, so then you can see two parts here. So I have told you two things, right? One is a front end, the other one is a back end applications. So both are available. So here you can say store front. This is a front end application. As a user, I can access through internet. Admin application. So this is actual application will be used by the admins. Okay.
So these are the two parts. So we are going to test the front end application, not the administration part. Okay. So if you want to explore this application, just click on this view storefront and you will get small URL also, demo.opencart.com. This is actual URL of application. So I'm just writing the URL of application and everybody can access this application. But later I'll tell you how to download and install in your local machine. Okay. So we are not going to test the actual application here. We are going to test our own application. We are going to download and deploy it in our local environment, and then we will test it. So this is just a demo application they have provided. We will download and install the full application and we'll test it. So if I just look at here, this is our application which we are going to test. And at very high level, if I just look at this application, there are a lot of features are there. And if I just look at this, and actually here the logo should be there and it is not displayed here. And you can just look at here my account. We can register our account, we can log in and wish list, shopping cart and checkout process. And we can search for product based on the category: desktops, laptops and notepads, components, tablets, software and so on. And these are the different products which are displayed. And there is a footer section here. These things also we have to test. And if you want to just order some product, we can just click on specific product like this, and then it will go to another page, which is, I think this is a cart page, add to cart page. And here you can see images, specification, description, and after that you can see the quantity, and then we can click on add to cart. Then the item is added to the cart. You can just look at here, and after that you can just click on the checkout. Once you do the checkout, so it will go to the payment page. So if I just look at here, okay, the product is added into the table, and then we can click on the checkout here, and then it will ask you the payment, and then we have to do some payment. This is a demo application guide. You no need to provide any payment details, anything. Just I'm just showing the flow, what exactly we have to do. Okay, so this is some bug is there, I guess, in this application, so it is giving some error. So later we will check it out. So this is a basic application, and if you want to search for any product, you can just give some text here. Suppose I want to search for something, I can say MacBook. You can enter anything here like this, and then you can click on this, and which will give you the products MacBook. So whatever the products are matching with the keyword, which will display here. And you can also select what categories they have. And if I just go to my account again, if I just click on the register, you can register your account by providing all the details. And these are the different scenarios we can consider: login, register, forgot password, my account, address book, wish list, order history, downloads, recurring payments, reward points, returns, transactions, newsletters. So these are all the different features of this application. Okay, so we are going to write a test plan and test scenarios and test cases for all the features which are available in this application. But remember guys, in the real environment or real time, you don't get this UI before itself. You will just get some documentation initially, and you have to understand, you have to read the document, understand it, and the later time you will get the UI. And if you want to do some changes in your test cases or test scenarios after getting the UI, you can do some small modifications. Okay, that is always there. So one, even though test cases are approved and freeze, in later time also you can just modify those test cases by seeing the UI. If you find something new which is not covered in your test case, you can immediately add those scenarios to your test cases and again get the approval, and again you review it. Okay, that is a continuous process. So once your test case got freezed, that is not at all final. Okay, you have to keep on modifying that. So whenever you see something new in your application, and you will get this build, and in the middle of the software testing somewhere in some particular phase. Okay, initially you don't have this application. You have to understand the features and application functionality only through documentation, not through UI. But I am providing this URL because you will be understanding more about this application meanwhile, and it is very easy to go further. Okay, so this is a application which we are going to test. Is a front end application. It is a e-commerce domain, and who is a customer, who is a vendor, we can say open cart, and we can consider them as a customer also. Okay, as a customer, or because this is a product, there is no specific customer, guys. Okay, because everybody can access and everybody can use that application in their environment by doing small customizations according to their company. So the customer means it's a market, everyone is a customer. And but for now I'm just putting open card because they are providing the product and we are testing the open card product, so I'm just putting the customer. So for us, he is a customer because we are going to test the application. Okay, so this is a basic introduction about the application what we are going to test. All right, so understanding and explore the functionality. So I have just shown you very high level flows what exactly we have done, what we have to do on this application, because everybody is familiar with online applications like Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal. Everybody is able familiar with these kind of applications, so it is also same kind of application. So you don't need to put more effort on this. It is just explore the application, like go each and every tab and do each and every link, just click on each and every link and see how it is going to work. So we have just discussed about exploratory testing earlier, right? So the same kind of testing you can try here. Explore that application by seeing all the functionalities in this feature, by clicking all the links on this application and do some process, and then you will know exactly how functionalities are working. Okay, you can just do some kind of exploratory testing on this application also. And now let us see how what kind of documents it is there. So to explore the functionality of the application or understanding what is the input for us, what is the input requirement we need is functional requirement specification. So functional document we required to understand the functionality. If application is ready, then we can explore, we can do some exploratory testing, we can understand the functionality. But most of the times in the real time you don't get the UI before itself, so we need to understand only through documentation. All right, so first let us see the uh, document. So where on what basis we can understand what is the input for us. So here we use something called FRS document. So this is the main input document for tester. Remember guys, in interview people may ask you how will understand the requirement, how we will know the requirement of the application. So you have a FRS document, functional requirement specification document. So based on this document and understand your functionality of application, not based on the UI. Remember guys, so we don't get the UI at the beginning stages. You have to completely rely on the documents and design. Sometimes you will have some design documents also. Okay, so that is the thing. So now I'm going to show you a small sample a document like FRS document, but it is not exactly FRS guys, because FRS means they will provide all the requirement IDs and everything, and a lot of in detail information will be there. But I have just prepared a some sample FRS document, and just by seeing the document you will understand exactly how FRS look like. And based on that, later we will prepare the test plan, test scenarios, test cases, and so on. Okay, so now I'm going to show you FRS document for this application. So are you guys clear so far? Please confirm in the chat window. Now, so I'm going to show you how FRS look like, okay, and how we need to understand the functionality based on the FRS document. So let me share a small document. Just a moment. Yeah, yes. So this is a small functional specification document. Let me just open one page. All right. So this is a functional requirement specification document, guys. It is a sample document is prepared by me, but in the real time, you will have more information, more detailed information along with the pictures and the use cases, diagrams, everything will be mentioned very, very clearly. But here, this is a document which is prepared by me and very high level, and just to understand how the FRS document look likes. Okay, this is just a kind of a template. So here the company logo and the heading and everything will be there and prepared by and date will be there. And if I just look at here, this is a simple document. Let me increase the size. Just 120. Yeah. So this is a document, guys. Okay, it is a starting point. And now, so what a FRS document mean is the FRS mainly contains the functionality of the application. And by reading this document, we will understand the functionality, how exactly application works. Okay, not based on the UI. So here they will give you some overview what exactly this project is, and what is the main intention to develop this application and everything. And the requirements also they will mention what kind of requirements the application is having. And if I just look at here, uh, so there are some options are mentioned here, like what is the technologies they have used uh, to install to develop these applications, and what exactly we have to install this product, like php, jquery, javascript, databases, mysql, and web server. So these things we required so to install this application. These are all installation requirements. And here exactly functionality started, open cart front end. Okay, so here you can just look at this message. So this document is intended to used as an introduction to the OpenCart default front store. And the storefront reveals how the customer views and interacts with the store. And they have also given some mock screenshots here. So normally in the FRS document, you will get the mock screens. Okay, they are not exactly real application screens, but before that they will draw some pictures, and there will be some UI team, they will draw the pictures. And by seeing the pictures you will understand exactly how our application look like. So here the screenshots also given, the application screenshot, you can understand the UI part. So how the UI looks like and what are the options will be displayed, all these things you can easily understand by seeing the UI. So these are called mock-up screens. So this is the technical term, guys, remember, mock-up. Maybe interview people may ask this kind of questions. Okay, mock-up screens. What is mock-up screen means? It's a dummy screens which will design before actual software or actual application is designed. They are called as a mock-up screens. So this will very help us to like imagine like how the screens will be in your application. So based on that also we can write some of the test cases. So most of the times mock-up screens also will be included in your documents. So if I just look at here, so here they have given some home page screen, and they also given some detailed description before the every screen, guys. If I just look at this is a home screen, this is a home screen, and this is a header part, and this is some images sliders, right? So this is a slider, and featured products, and footer section, and the product pages. So each and every page they have given, and also they have given some description before that particular image. So you have to carefully read and everything. That's most important. Until unless you read each and every statement, you cannot understand the functionality. But how to read and understand the functionality? So let me just give you how we can do that. So suppose while reading this application or while reading this document, right? So normally we have to mainly focus on the requirement, not any other stuff. There are a lot of unwanted stuff also will be there in the document, but we don't need that. We are mainly focusing on the requirement, what we have to test, what kind of scenarios we have to test. That's our main intention. So while reading the document, what you have to do is, whenever you see a small description about any requirement, you can just highlight that sentences, because based on that later we will create our test scenarios. So for example, here they have given something like this. Suppose here the products seen above are included as sample data with the OpenCart application. So here they have given some sample products. Okay, and these products can easily be removed and replaced with the shop's product later. So this is can done by the administration part, and we are mainly focusing from here. So navigating to the shop homepage. So if I just read this requirement, the home page is arguably the most important page in that shop in in terms of presentation. In most cases, this will be the first page that a customer interacts with, especially if they are direct to the store site from a search engine. And this is the main requirement, guys. I have highlighted already. If I just look at here, the shop's homepage needs to be user friendly, while at the same time highlighting the shop's product. So this is a one of the requirement I have highlighted. And the first step in becoming a familiar with this storefront is understanding the anatomy of the OpenCart default homepage. Because whenever you start your testing, we will start with the homepage. So they have clearly mentioned the homepage requirement here. And then header part. The header will be displayed at the top of the page on every page of the store. And whatever the important points we have noticed in this document, we have just tried to highlight them. Okay, based on that, later we will prepare our test scenarios. That is very, very important. And one more thing is, you will get a lot of time to understand this document, guys. Okay, within 1 day, 2 days, you will not able to complete this. So in the testing life cycle, each and every phase, there will be some time allocated to you, like understand the requirement for few days, and writing the test cases for few days, and understand executing the test cases. And for every task, you will be assigned some kind of duration, or 2 days, 3 days, or 1 week. And apart from all the tasks, understanding requirement, preparation of test cases will be assigned more time. Okay, so you can take your own time, and but understand the functionality very, very clearly. And if required, you can just communicate with the product manager, whoever is written this document. And also, if required, you can talk to the designers, you can talk to the developers also. And then keep some meetings also, review meetings or inspections or walkthroughs, whatever it is. And the main intention of doing all these things is to understand the functionality more better. Okay, so just read this document. I will provide this document. I will give you the link also, so you guys can get this document and try to read it each and every section. And whenever you see some kind of requirement, you can just highlight that lines. And the later we will prepare the test scenarios based on those highlighted lines. Okay, so I have not done each every document. I have not done entire document. So this is again up to you. You guys should read this document, spend 1 day and read this document thoroughly. Read each and every section of the document and highlight the points. Whatever the points you like, you feel that is a requirement, you can just highlight the point. So I'll also show you how to highlight that point. Suppose if I just look at here, slideshow. So you can say the slideshow displays several product banners of your choice by alternating the images in slideshow. After a certain amount of time, one banner will shift to the next banner. So they are basically talking about the banners. And if I just want to see here, if I want to highlight this text, you can just select this, and you can see here, this is the option you can use. Okay, whichever color you can use, use it. Okay, like this, you can highlight the text. So read this document. And apart from this, I also provided the link also, right? So open this application URL and go through each and every functionality and do some kind of exploratory testing and today itself. And also use this document to understand functionality more better. Okay, this is having a few requirements. This is not a final FRS document, guys. So this is very high level and very little information I have provided. But actual requirement document is having more detailed information. Okay, so this is just for understanding purpose. All right, so once we have done this, so this is very, very important activity, guys, at the beginning stages, because we don't get any UI. But here I'm providing the UI for your understanding purpose, but in the real time we don't get UI initial level. We will completely depend on only the documents. Okay, sometimes you may get some additional document like design document and data flow diagrams. Okay, and you have to refer all the documents. And then finally the ultimate goal is you have to understand application functionality. That's the main goal. Okay, so this is the first and most important phase, understanding and explore the functionality of the application. Okay, so once it is done, the next phase, so you will have a lot of time, guys. Okay, in the beginning days you will spend a lot of time on this, because that is a foundation. So your testing, the quality of your testing is depends upon how well you have understand the functionality. So that is most important. So in the initial days, you will be assigned more time to understand the functionality, reading the documents, writing the test plan and test cases, and then we will proceed further. Okay, so now the next and most important activity which we are going to do is preparation of the test plan. Okay, preparation of the test plan. But before writing the test plan, we have to get some input. So what is the input we have to get? So we will refer the FRS document, and also we will refer the project plan. So there will be another document called project plan, which is given by the management. Or if not, we can also ask them the schedules of the complete software development and testing and everything, because the project plan contains the project duration, like when the project should start, when the project should complete, when we have to deliver the customer, and how much development time is there, how much design time, how much is testing time, everything will be predefined. So we need to collect that information from the project plan, like how much time should be spent on the testing. So that's the main important for us. So for development, how much time it is taking, that is a developer responsibility. We are not doing anything with that. So we need actual time taken for testing. And we do something called estimation also. In the initial stages, we do something called test estimation. So depends upon the number of functionalities, and depends upon the number of functionalities in application complexity, and also depends upon the number of people we have in the team. And based on this, we will also estimate, so how many days or how many months it will take for complete all the testing activities. So roughly we also provide some kind of estimation to the management, and accordingly management also will think, and finally will come, they will publish the dates, and accordingly we have to prepare the rest of the activity. So estimation is also takes place at the initial level, so before test plan, or we can say here, before understanding and explore the functionality, we also do some kind of estimation. So I'll talk about this more on agile process, okay? Because nowadays most of the people are following, most of the companies are following agile process. So that time I'll explain how we have to do estimation and everything, okay? So here that is not much important, but initially there will be estimation part also will be there. Most of the times the leads will be involved. So after understanding and exploring the functionality, we have to tell actually how much time we need for understand the requirement, how much time we need for writing test cases, how much time we need for execution, and how much time we need for verifying the bugs. So everything we have to give in detail information, okay? So that we have to provide, that is called as estimation. So estimation also we have to prepare before doing the rest of the tasks, okay? But in agile process we have something called story points and everything, so I will discuss that later. So once we start agile process, so estimation is also takes place after understanding the requirements, everything, because until unless we know the complexity of the application, we cannot estimate the time, we cannot tell how much time our testing will take, right? If you have 100 test cases, maybe time will be less. If you have 500 test cases, time will be more. So when I can tell exact time means, until unless we understand the requirement, we cannot do any estimation. So we have to give some rough estimation initially, but after understanding the requirements, after understanding the functionality or complexity of the project, we can again give the final estimation to the management, okay? So this is again part of the process. Now, once you understand the functionality of the application, the next and most important thing is a preparation of the test plan. So we have to prepare the test plan document. So we will prepare the test plan document, test leads along with the test engineers. Okay, we'll prepare the test plan. So already we have discussed about this in our classes. What is the test plan? In our previous sessions, we have discussed about test plan. So what is the test plan document? So test plan is a document which says about or which describes the scope of the testing, like what to test, what not to test, okay? Test features to be tested, features not to be tested, and schedules, and then what are the tools we have to use, and what kind of testings you have to conduct, and who will conduct, and when we will conduct. So all this information we have to keep in one document, which is called as a test plan document. So before doing any activity, first we have to do the plan, and then rest of them will go fine. So until unless you have a plan, so things will not go properly. So we have to prepare one plan. So in the testing, we prepare a plan document called test plan document. So as I said before, test plan document contains a test schedules, mainly scope of the testing, what we are going to test, what we are not going to test. We have to clearly mention in the test plan document. And also what are the features we are going to test, which we have to clearly list in the test plan document, and timelines also we have to specify. So how much time we need for test cases, from which date to which date we have to write test cases, and which date to which date we have to execute our test cases, and what is the team, what are the team members will involve during the testing. So all these things, and what are the tools we are going to use for testing. So all these things we have to specify in the test plan document. Okay, now I'm going to show you the test plan document of this particular project. Now let me show you a small document. So you guys should refer this document later. Okay, I'll share it. So this is a test plan document, guys. Okay, let me just open one page. So normally it takes a lot of time, guys, which we cannot complete within 1 hour, 2 hours. Okay, it takes more number of hours, and so you have to spend a lot from your side. The time you have to spend and read this document and try to understand the documents. But test scenarios, test cases, you guys should write. Okay, I'll show you how to understand the requirement already shown you. So how to write the test cases, how to understand the scenarios, how to write the scenarios. I'll show you few of them, and rest of them you guys can continue. So this is a test plan document, okay, which is prepared based on the FRS document. Okay, so here heading will be there and product name and who is prepared and date, everything will be mentioned here. And if I just come to this document, first table of contents. As I said before, what is the test plan contains? Test plan contains the features, what to test and what are the features we not test. And you can just look at here. Inclusions. Inclusions means what? The features to be tested or features not to be tested. There comes under the inclusions. And test environments. So in what environment, in which environment we are going to test. Exclusions means what are the features we are not going to test. Test strategy and what kind of strategy we are following, manual testing or automation. And if it is a manual testing, what are the different testings we are going to conduct, that we have to specify under test strategy. And defect reporting procedure means we already discussed about bug life cycle earlier, right? In the same process we are going to report the bugs, so that procedure we have to clearly mention. Next, roles and responsibilities. So throughout your testing process, and what are the different type of people are involved, from the product manager, lead, senior test engineers, everybody in the team, you have to specify their names along with their responsibilities. And test schedule. In the test schedule, we have to specify when you have to start test cases, when you have to finish, and when we have to start execution, when we have to finish. Okay, so all the each and every activity detailing we have to specify the starting date and ending date. And what are the test deliverables? So in each and every phase we will deliver some documents like test plan, test cases, test execution report or defect report. So these are all deliverables, and those document names also we have to specify. Pricing will be taken care by the test manager, it is not applicable here. Then entry and exit criteria means what? So when we have to start testing and when we have to exit from the testing, so that we have to clearly specify in this document. And accordingly we have to start and exit from the testing. Then suspension and resumption criteria means when you have to start testing, when you have to resume our testing. Sometimes you started your testing and you are middle of the testing. After that, what happens? Some functionalities got blocked and you are not able to proceed testing further functionalities. So you have to stop your testing or you have to suspect your testing for some time or some duration. And after the bug is fixed, after the block is cleared, then you can resume your testing. So here suspension or resumption criteria means here we have to clearly mention when you have to suspect our testing, when you have to resume our testing. And tools. So while testing, what are the different tools you are going to use, like MS Word or Excel or any other automation tools or any other bug tracking tools we are using. So everything we have to specify under tools. And then risks and mitigations. Risks and mitigations means what? So for example, your project is going on in progress and will be some risk, like particular resource is having some health problem, is taken for leave. So we have to replace him with somebody else. Okay, that is a risk and mitigation. Risk is nothing but a problem. Mitigation is nothing but a solution for that. Okay, uh, we have to before itself we have to predict the situation. So throughout the project, if this kind of situation comes, so what is the remedy for that? So we have to understand those situations, and the risks and mitigations we have to clearly mention in the plan document. And every time you always plan for the backup resources. Okay, suppose if you have 5 members in your team, so don't prepare the plan for all 5 members. Okay, just keep 1 or 2 resources as a backup resources. Okay, prepare plan for only 3 resources, and if there is any risk, then you can replace with the backup resources. So that is always will be there. So this is a these are the table of contents, and each and every content we have to clearly elaborate. If I just look at here, overview of the project, and this is a scope. Scope means inclusions. What are the things we are going to test in this application? You can just look at here. These are the, we can consider them as a scenarios. Okay. So once you understand FRS document, you will know exactly what we have to test, what we are not going to test. And if I just look at here, register is a functionality, login and logout, forgot password, search functionality, comparing the products. Suppose there is two similar products are there in your application. So which one I want to buy? How we will know? You will compare, right? Both the product, which one is a better? How we will know? If you compare those products, you will know that. So comparison also one of the functionality which we have in this application. Then product display page, add to cart, wish list, shopping cart, currencies, home page, checkout page, my account page, order history page, downloads page, contact us page, menu options, footer options, category pages. So these are the different things we have to test as part of this manual testing. So these are the different scenarios which we have identified from the application by seeing the document. Okay, this is the most and very, very important thing which we have to specify in the plan document. In future, whatever the test cases we are going to write and whatever the test case we are executing, everything should be part of this. Okay, this should not leave. So every test case should be covered, these features. Okay, but apart from these features, we are not going to. Okay, right. So now we are in preparation of the test plan. So in the test plan contains a mainly scope, what we are going to test. So here register functionality, login and logout, forgot password, and so on. So I have identified all the scenarios based on the FRS document, and by seeing the mock screens which are provided as part of functional specification document. Okay, so that is the first step, and then we will just explore rest of the sections. And this test plan will be prepared by whom? So we will prepare the test plan. So normally test leads will prepare the test plan along with the team. Okay, and then here the test environments, on which environments you have to conduct the testing. If I just look at here, Windows 10, Chrome, Firefox, Edge browsers we can use. And if you are using Mac, you can use Safari browser. And even this application support mobile application, mobile app is also there. And we can also test this and Android and iPhone mobile. So these are the environments. Okay, so you have to specify everything in the test plan. In the real time, we will conduct testing on multiple platforms also. Okay, so exclusion means what we are not going to test. So apart from this, whatever else we have, we should not test them. So what are those things? All the features except that are mentioned under inclusions. Means what? Whatever we mention under inclusions except these, other than this, we are not going to touch anything else. So any third party features or payment gateways, we are not going to test. So sometimes when you do payment, they internally use some payment gateways. So you're not going to test them. And also test automation. So this plan is only for manual testing, not for automation. So if you want to do automation, there will be a separate plan. Automation test plan is a different thing. So here this plan is prepared only for manual testing. So test automation is also not part of this document or not part of this testing. Now the test strategy. Test strategy means what? What are the different type of testings we are going to conduct, and what are the different techniques we are going to use at the time of testing? So that also we have to go into specify here. And if I just look at here, read the description, creation of test scenarios and test cases for the different features in the scope. So we use these kind of techniques, guys: equivalence class partitioning, boundary value analysis, decision table, state transition testing, use case. And we are going to use all these things for testing. Earlier we already discussed in detail about this. So use case testing means based on the use case, we will identify the scenario and we will test it. So we also use our expertise in creating test cases by applying the below error guessing, exploratory testing. So while doing this also, we prepare some of the test cases and we also prioritize the test cases. And this is a strategy. Okay. And the testing process also we have to specify here. So what is the process we are going to follow? So firstly, we will perform smoke testing to check whether the different important functionalities of the application is working or not. And we reject the build if the smoke testing fails. And we'll wait for stable build before performing in-depth testing of the application functionalities. Okay, this is basically the process what we are going to do. And then once we receive the stable build which passes smoke testing, and we perform in-depth testing using the test cases created. And then multiple tester resources will be testing the same application on multiple supported environments simultaneously. And when we then report the bugs in bug tracking tool and send to the send you means developers, and defect found on the day in status and end of the email. So here you means dev guys, so dev and management. Okay, and the defects found, whatever defects found on day-to-day basis, we are going to send a report to them. And as part of the testing, we'll perform the smoke testing and sanity testing, regression testing and retesting, usability, functionality, and UI testing. So these are the testings we are going to test. We are going to conduct. We repeat test cycles until we get the quality product. Okay, these are all called strategy, test strategy. Okay, and then we'll follow the below best practices to make our testing better. So context driven testing means what? Based upon the context, we do the testing. Means what? Suppose if your web application, then we conduct specific type of testing, like performance testing also will be included. And suppose it is a desktop application, we don't do any performance testing. So that is a basically context means. Context means based on the type of application we are going to test, we are going to conduct different kinds of testing. Okay, and shift left testing. Suppose we will start testing from the beginning stages of the development itself instead of waiting for the stable build. That means what? Whenever we receive a documents, we start testing the documents initially in the form of reviews, walkthroughs, and inspections. So that is a thing here talking about. So we'll start testing from the beginning stages of the beginning stages of the development itself instead of waiting for the stable build. And then exploratory testing is also involved here. So we'll understand more about the application while doing exploratory testing. And end-to-end flow testing also we are going to conduct. This is all about strategy which we are going to follow. Then defect reporting procedure also we have to specify. Suppose if we found some defect, how you are going to report them. So here we have to specify that. So during the test execution, any deviation from expected behavior by the application will be noted. If it can't be if it can't be reported as a defect, it would be the reported as a observation or issue, or paused as a question. And any usability issues will be also reported. And after discovery of the defect, it will be retested to verify reproducibility of the defect, and screenshot with the steps to reproduce or documented. That means, so whenever how to report the bug, so as soon as you found any mismatch behavior between expected and actual, then you will consider as a bug. Okay, and you have to provide the screenshots, all the steps, along with the more information to the developer, so that developer can understand your defect and easy to fix them. So that is a process which we have to specify under this section. And notice defects will be documented in Excel. We are going to document defects initially in the Excel file, but normally in the real time we use the defect tracking tools. So where you will get a URL of application, there you will get a form, and you will specify all the defect related information in that particular form and then submit it. So that will automatically, the information will automatically send to the developer, and accordingly developer also will fix the issue and update the severities and priorities. They don't update any severity, they will update the priorities and also other information like defect is fixed or not, delayed or not, duplicate or not, or enhancement or not. So these statuses will be updated by the developer. So this is all about defect reporting procedure. Okay, and even test scenarios, test cases also documented in Excel document initially, later we will upload in the tool. Fine. So this is another section, guys. Roles and responsibilities. So we have to clearly specify the name of the person in a team, and who is he, what is the role of him, and what are the activities they do on our project. So like manager, most of the times he do escalations to the client, and who is what is the responsibility of the test lead, what is the responsibility of the senior test engineer, then what is the responsibility of the test engineer. So everything we have to clearly specify here. This is the roles and responsibilities section. And test schedule. So when we have to prepare the test plan document, so here we have to specify the dates, okay, start date and end date. And similarly, test case creation date, start date and end date, test case execution date, and finally summary report submission, when we have to submit the summary reports. That is also we have to specify. So basically we have to update these dates according to your project estimation. And finally, test deliverables. So what are the documents we have to deliver? So what is a deliverable means? The document, whatever the phase we have completed, immediately we have certain document. So that is called as a deliverable. So test plan is a one deliverable. Functional test cases are deliverables, and defect reports, summary reports, all these called as a deliverables. And on which date we have to submit those deliverables. So we have to specify them. And pricing is not applicable here. And entry and exit criteria also we have to specify. For every phase there will be entry and exit criteria. For example, when I say requirement analysis phase, what is entry criteria? Once the testing team receives the requirements, documents or details about the project, this is entry criteria we have to. Whenever you start requirement understanding, this is the entry criteria, so we have to receive the documents. What is the exit criteria? List out requirements are explored and understood by the testing team, doubts are clear. So once you done this, then we can exit from that particular phase. Then test planning phase. In the test planning phase, what is the entry criteria is testable requirements derived from the given requirements documents or project details, and doubts are clear. And the exit criteria is test plan document is signed off by the client. So whenever you prepare some document, make sure that document should be signed off by a specific person, like responsible person. Most of the time product manager or test manager will sign off. You need to get the sign off on the document, then only the document is valid. People will consider the document is a valid document. Until unless you get the sign off, that is still in progress, that is not a valid document. Okay, so remember this. And but before getting the sign off the document, you have to conduct some reviews. You have to conduct some meeting with the team. They will review your document. If there are any changes, they'll give you feedback. According to you do some changes, and then finally you get the sign off. Then test designing. So what is the entry criteria is test plan document is signed off by the client, and exit criteria is test scenarios and test cases document are signed off by the client. So entry and exit criteria. Then test execution entry and exit criteria. In test execution, the entry criteria is test scenarios and test cases documents are signed off by client. Application is ready for testing. Then what is exit criteria is test case reports, defect reports are ready. So once execution is done, we will have test case reports and test results report and defect reports. And test closure, the last phase of STLC. Here entry criteria is test case reports and defect reports are ready, and test summary reports. So for every phase, we have to clearly define what is entry and exit criteria, and then suspension and resumption criteria. So based on the client decision, we will suspend and resume the project. So we'll ramp up and ramp down the resources as per the client deals. So what is ramp up and ramp down? And this is also another technical term. So ramping is nothing but adjusting the resources. Okay, for example, you planned for 5 resources for testing, and in the middle of the project, 2 resources got dropped. Somewhere they have got offer from some other company, they have left the company, or they are in sick leave. So you have to manage the project with the 3 members. So what is ramping up means? You can increase the time, like you can ask them to spend more time, because the 2 resources went off, so they are in the leave or they are in sick. So you have to rest of the 3 members also do their tasks. So accordingly, you have to ramp up the time and number of people. So we'll ramp up and ramp down the resources as per the client needs. And what are the tools we are going to use as part of the testing? So some XYZ backtracking tool and mind mapping tool. So mind mapping is a one tool where we can clearly draw the pictures, we can clearly mention the requirements, and snipping screenshot. So whenever you find some defects, you have to provide the screenshot to the developer. So for that also we have to use something called snipping tool. I'll show you all the tools later. And we use Word and Excel documents also, especially for writing the test cases and writing the requirement scenarios and everything. So these are the tools we are going to use as part of manual testing. Then risks and mitigations. So if there is, risk is nothing but a problem which will come throughout your project sometimes in your project, and how we can overcome that problem, that is called mitigation. Suppose non-availability of the resource is a risk, then we have to maintain the backup resource. We need to have some backup resource planning. That is called mitigation. Okay, suppose your build URL is not working, that's the risk. So resources will work on other tasks. We should not keep resources ideal. So rest of the people should work on some other tasks. And risk is less time for testing. So your time which is allocated for testing is not enough. Suppose it is not sufficient at the end of the cycle, then what you have to do again, ramping up of the resources based on the client needs dynamically. Okay, then finally approvals. On what documents we have to get the approvals? Test plan, test scenarios, test cases, and all the reports we have prepared. So all these documents we have to get approval from the specific persons. Okay, so this is called as test plan document. And you no need to write each and everything, guys. You will get some template. So you will get a company template which contains some logo and everything, these sections. And this data only you have to update. Okay, whatever the headings you have, you can just keep it as it is. Only the content, what you have, what you have understood from the documents, FRS and project plan, accordingly you have to update the content of the document. Okay, this is just a template. You don't need to prepare the complete document. It's a template. So template means what? The information which will already there. The only thing is you have to do some modifications according to your project. So this is called as a test plan document. This is called as a test plan document. Okay, so everything we have to specify in this document. So based on this document we will proceed for the next steps. Okay, and this is normally prepared by the test lead along with the engineers, and they will get the approval from the project or product manager, and they will also review each and everything is specified in this or not, and finally they'll sign off this document, and accordingly we follow further. Okay, all right, so this is a test plan document, guys. Okay, now, so we have seen the project, what kind of project we are going to test, and we have seen FRS document. Estimation we are not going to prepare, but this is a task also we have to do. Like estimation is simple, like how much time we have to spend for testing purpose. And then test plan document, so we have just seen a test plan document. Now let us move on to the next one, test scenarios, which is very 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 important task for the tester, guys. Writing test scenarios. So what is a test scenario? In our previous sessions we have discussed what is a test scenario. So what is test scenario? So test scenario is nothing but what to test, area to be tested, right? What to test, area to be tested. And then later we will derive the scenarios into test cases. We'll create more number of test cases based on the scenarios. So test scenario is nothing but an area to be tested, like what to test. So in our test plan, we just put this requirement at very high level. It's very high level. Okay, so we have to derive the scenarios in detail for each and every feature. We have to derive the scenarios. For that we are going to use an Excel file or Excel sheet, a template. Okay, so now we already prepared for some scenarios. Okay, and I'll show you what are the scenarios I have prepared, and you guys also should work on that. So while reading the document and understanding the schemes, prepare some of the scenarios yourself. Okay, write yourself some of the scenarios. Okay, I have a document, I already prepared some scenarios, I'll show you, and based on that you guys also try to understand the scenarios, try to find the more number of scenarios in your application. So whatever list we have mentioned in the test plan document, these are all just the scope of the testing, features of the application. But again, every feature there are different scenarios. So suppose for example register, for register there will be multiple scenarios and multiple test cases. For login and logout there will be multiple scenarios and multiple test cases. Okay, so just assume these are just the features. What are the features we are going to test? For every feature, there will be n number of scenarios and n number of test cases. Now I'm going to show you how to prepare the test scenarios. That is the next step, writing the test scenarios. Now let me share a small document, test scenarios. Okay, this is an Excel document. Yeah. So just look at the template first, okay? Then we'll go in detail. Yeah, just if I just look at here. So this is a test scenarios document we prepare in the Excel, okay? So here, this is a template. Initially, we have to specify some details like project name and client reference document, on which document we refer to write these particular scenarios and who is created, on which date they have created, and later we will update the approval date. Okay, so the basic information we have to provide in the initial part, and then so these are the different test scenarios which we have to identify from the application. Okay, if I just look at here, test scenario ID we have to specify. Each scenario is having a unique ID, that is called test scenario ID, and reference where we have referred, from where you got this particular scenario, and then scenario description. But in the test plan, we have just specified the feature names, that's it. But here we have to elaborate. Okay, we have to elaborate. So this is called as a scenario description. If I just look at here, how many scenarios totally I have written is 32 scenarios I have written. I think this is 31, sorry. Okay, so totally 31 scenarios I have written for this application. And priority, so here priority of the scenarios means what is priority says here. So test case is always having test scenario, and test case is having priority, and based on the priority we will execute those scenarios and test cases. Suppose if we have 10 scenarios, how we will know which one we have to execute first? Based on the priority. So you have to give some priority, and then accordingly you have to execute. So execution order will be defined based on the priority. So here P0 means what? High priority. So those test cases we have to execute first. And especially when you do smoke testing, P0 test cases should be executed. Okay. And the P1. So next priority is a P1. So means what? Basic sanity and functional testing. P1s, and then P2, then P3s and P4. Most of the times the P4s are UI related test cases. P3s and P4s are UI related test cases, a low priority. Okay. But P0s always will be executed as a basic functionality testing. When you do smoke testing, we must execute P0 test case. If any P0 test case got failed, means what? They are critical, they are blockers. So we cannot continue with the rest of the cases. So first priority will always go to P0 test cases. And without working those test cases, we cannot execute further test cases. Then P1 and P2. And then last priority goes to P3 and P4. Basically, those are related to UI functionalities like alignment, spelling mistakes, colors, all these things. Okay. So these are the test scenarios which we have prepared. So I'll go through each and every scenario one by one, just try to understand this. And you guys should prepare this document yourself. Okay. So for first scenario, so every scenario is having a specific ID also. TS underscore 001. TS is representing test scenario 002, 003, and so on. Fine. So validate the working of register account functionality. This is a one scenario. And for this scenario, I have estimated almost 27 test cases. Okay, so this is already done. Okay, I have already done the work on this. So here we have to specify roughly how many test cases we can write for this particular scenario. Okay, we have to think about this. So how many test cases we have to write for this particular scenario? Before that, we need to write here. Okay, so here the next one is validate the working of login functionality. So 23. So approximately I can write 23 test cases for validating the login functionality. Okay, just a moment. All right. So the next one is login register account functionality P0, and estimated 27 test cases. Now, working of login functionality, and this is also P0 because login is a major functionality in your application. Without login, you cannot proceed any further. And 23 test cases have planned for this. For logout functionality is also P0, 11 test cases are planned. Forgot password functionality, P2 is a priority. P2 is a priority and 25 test cases have planned. Similarly, search functionality, validate working of product compare functionality, validate the product display page functionality for the different type of products, and validate the working of add cart functionality. So whenever you if you want to buy the product, first we need to add that into cart. And wish list. Wish list is nothing but the product we have planned for purchasing in maybe in the coming days or in future. You're not buying that product, you are just planned for that. That is called wish list. And shopping cart, and shopping cart is a one of the phase. Okay, so once you add the product to the wish list, then add to cart, then come to the shopping cart, then do the payment. So that is a process. And validate the working of shopping cart functionality, and validate the working of homepage functionality, verify or validate the working of checkout functionality. So whenever you write test case or test scenario, always start with validate or verify keyword. Okay, this is a one more fundamental rule. So validate working of checkout functionality, validate the my account functionality. So validate the working of my account. Inside the my account, there is option called account information functionality. Okay. If I just look at this application, if I just go to my account, we have to go. So if you want to go to my account, we need to log into application. Okay. So here I'm providing my email ID and password. I think 1 second. Okay, I think my login is not working. Later we will see that. So once you successfully log in, you will able to see your user details, right? User profile. So that is I'm talking about. Account information functionality. And in the my account, change password functionality is also there internally. In the my account, address book functionality, you can change your communication address. Okay, this is the my account functionality features. And then my orders. Suppose if you already order some products, where you can see the order products, history of the products, there is an option called my orders. Okay, there is a option called my orders. Okay, let me just create one account, guys, and then I'll show you. If I just click on the register, so it will you can see here there are some details, and once you provided these details, you will able to log in. Okay, so let me log in once again. I think I already have valid username password, guys. Let me try with something. No. No. Okay, so if you want to use this application, you can just click on the register link and then provide all the details here, and then the new account will be created. So let me just try to register something. Okay, some ABC. I'm giving some invalid data. I'll say XYZ, and just give some dummy email, whatever you want. So some telephone number and password. So test 1 2. You can give anything, no problem. And okay, so email is should be valid, and then password, confirm password, and then continue. So this is a process of registering account. So you must agree to privacy policy. Okay, so where they have mentioned here it is checkbox, and then continue. So once it is done, your account has been created. Okay, now you are able to log in. So let me just log in and see the features. So if I just click on the my account, so now I already logged in because just now I created an account. So you can just look at here. These are the different details. You can see edit your account information. I think let me increase the size of the page. Yeah. So you can just look at here in my account, edit your account information, change the password, modify your address book, modify your wish list. This is again one scenario, my account. We can write multiple test cases for this. Then my orders. Again, view your order history, downloads, your reward points, your return request, your transactions, recurring payments. So my orders we can consider as one scenario. We can write more number of test cases for these items, and affiliate account, and then finally newsletter. So we are going to write test cases for all these things. Okay, so where you can see these details. So once you created your account, once you successfully logged in, then you can see these details. Okay, so those scenarios are clearly mentioned here. So under my account information functionality, and validate working of my account, change password functionality, my account address book functionality, my orders order history functionality, my orders order information functionality, and my orders product returns functionality. So these details I captured from the UI, guys. So you can just look at here. So same thing, these details I have mentioned there. And my orders, your transactions functionality, my orders, recurring payments functionality. So these are all part of my orders. And then affiliate functionality, which is already there here. If I just look at here, this one, affiliate account, this is the functionality. Then validate working of newsletter functionality, contact us page functionality, gift certificate page functionality, special offers, and header options and menu options and footer options functionality. And then validate the compare application functionality for different currencies. And you can just look at the currencies here: Euro, Pound Sterling, and US Dollar. So we can just compare this. Okay, so these are the different scenarios which we have identified from this application. So this is a most very important task. So until unless we have clear with these scenarios, we cannot proceed with the test cases. So for each scenario, approximately you have to, so for each scenario, approximately you can just give some number, how many test cases you are going to write. But how we will know this number? You have to try this. Okay, so you have to go and do that action. Suppose registration is there, so validate the working of register account functionality, 27 test cases. How I have written 27 test cases here? Because I have identified multiple things. Like suppose for example, let me log out, and then go to register. So observe this. Just I'm giving how I have written 28 test cases. See this, registration account or not. So how you will test it? You will provide all the details, click on continue, then it will be able to create. That is a major end-to-end test case. But we should also test multiple things here. So what to test? We have to provide only mandatory fields. Then test account is registering or not. Then don't provide the mandatory fields, some of the mandatory fields, negative testing. So then test it whether registering account is creating or not. That's one test case. And then first name is allowing the spaces or not, and last name is allowing the spaces or not. Email is allowing the proper email formats or not. Telephone is allowing the proper format or not. So each and every field we have to write the test cases. We can call them as a UI test cases. So field level validations also we have to do. And also check password and confirm password. If I give both are different, then how register account is working. And password confirm. So certain rules will be there. So whether the password is following those rules or not, like at least one number, one alphabet, or rest of them are lowercase characters, or minimum 4 characters, maximum 6 characters, or 8 characters. So whether those rules are working fine or not. So we have to test each and every field in this particular form, along with these checkboxes and privacy policy, agree or not agree, everything. So to count each and everything in this particular form, approximately I have estimated 27 test cases. So later I will show you those 27 test cases also to you. Okay, then you will aware what are those exactly 27 test cases. Similarly, for each and every functionality or for each and every scenario, I have approximately estimated some number of test cases. So this is the actual job we have to do at the beginning level before writing the test cases. Before writing the test cases. Okay. So what I will do is today I'll share this FRS document. Okay. And what is your activity today is you need to go through this document. You have to thoroughly read this document. The second thing is I also provided this URL. So you guys open that URL, and do some kind of exploratory testing. So what exploratory testing means? What? Go each and every link, create your account, register your account, and log into account, and see each and every functionalities how it is working for. Okay, then you can understand what are the different scenarios you can test. And apart from that, I will also provide this test plan document, and you guys can go through the plan and read each and every section in this plan, what exactly I have mentioned in the sections. Okay, that is the one thing. And finally, prepare test scenarios document. Okay, so this is the test scenario document. I'll share it, but you guys also prepare yourself and think, apart from these scenarios, will you able to find few more scenarios or not? Okay, you guys can think. And I'm not going to provide all the scenarios. I'll just write just 3 to 4 scenarios, and rest of the scenarios you guys should understand. You guys can get it from the application by the document. Okay, so this is the task for today, and in the tomorrow session we'll proceed with the test cases. Okay, so one second. Okay, so tomorrow we'll proceed with the test cases. Okay, and one more thing, guys. So we have 3 sessions. Okay, I'm going to spend 3 more sessions for this particular project, and each and everything we cannot do within 3 sessions. So it is a huge project. Okay, if you time at least 1 or 2 hours every day, you will able to complete within 15 to 20 days. At least that much of time it is taking. Okay, so in our sessions, what I'm going to show you is, I'll take 1 or 2 scenarios. Okay, and I'll show you end to end, like how to write the scenario, how to write the test cases, how to execute the test cases, how to identify the bugs, and how to report the bugs. The entire cycle from SDLC process, the complete cycle, I will show you by taking 1 or 2 scenarios. Okay, and rest of the things you have to do from your side. You have to put your own effort, because this is a project. Your involvement will be more than me. Okay, so you have to read the document, you have to write the test scenarios, you have to write the test cases, and I'll show you how to execute and how to report the bugs, and you have to do that. Okay, so that is a plan. So in our sessions, don't expect each and everything we will discuss. It is a huge project. It takes 15 to 20 days of time. It's not a simple thing. So almost I spent almost 20 to 25 days to complete these tasks throughout the project, everything. Okay, so that is your job, your responsibility to complete this document. Okay, so you guys can send your documents to me. I'll review, and if there are any changes or any feedback, I'll provide you. Okay, so that is a plan for the project. So today we have discussed like what is a project, and we have understood application, and we explore some functionality from the application. And then estimation, we can skip it for now, we're not required. Estimation is basically like effort, how much effort we have to put, how much time we have to spend for test plan, test scenarios, test cases, and so on. Then we have discussed about the test plan, and then scenarios I have shown you. So from the next session, we are going to start writing the test cases, and we review, and then we will proceed further. Okay, so from today, your job is started. So I will not share everything, guys, today. So you have to write the rest of the scenarios. I just write 1 or 2, and rest of the them I just leave it to you. You guys should write these scenarios yourself. Okay, and once you have written, just keep it with you, all the documents, and then later you guys send to me. Okay, so that is all about today's session, and we will proceed rest of the topics tomorrow. Okay.